work on our primate and small mammal section here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our lovely red pandas. So first of all, this here is Nampang. Nampang is 3 years old and he's lived here since he was just around 10 months. He was born at the Highland Wildlife Park in Scotland, and he came to live with us as part of the European breeding programme. And just joining us is our lovely female Tilly. Tilly is a lot older than him. She is 9 years old, and she's also lived here since she was around 10 months old too. So she's lived here for quite a number of years now. So red pandas are incredibly unique animals. They're actually the only living species in their family, which is Ailuridae. There's 2 species of red panda, which has actually only been really decided and discovered about earlier this year. So it's still learning a lot about them. So red pandas have no real close relatives. People often sort of not confuse them, but sort of lump them in together with giant pandas. But the word panda is basically thought to be a mispronunciation of the word ponya, which is a word that means eater of bamboo. So red pandas were actually discovered and named the ponya, or the panda, 48 years before anyone discovered the giant panda. So people often look at these and we might hear comments like they don't look like real pandas, and my favourite thing to tell everyone is that technically they are the true panda, as they were named first. But as I say, they are in a different family to giant pandas. So the closest things really that red pandas are related to is the animals that belong to the raccoon family, but even that is quite distant.
So thank you all for joining so far. I'm Cam, and we're joined by the lovely Amy. Hello. So she's currently talking about our red pandas. So a couple of things. We have a Just Giving page at the minute for it, which is called Animal Support Fund, and we're actually raising funds and donations that goes towards our animals here at the park. Another thing, if you are finding yourself with something to watch in lockdown, we have a series from CBBC called ZOO2U, if you wanted to check that out on BBC iPlayer.
So what I'm feeding these 2 this afternoon is just a little bit of fruit. Tilly's actually finished hers now, so we just show her her empty little pot, so she's not disappointed. We feed both of our red pandas a small amount of fruit every day, but fruit only makes up a very small part of their diet from where they would live in the wild. So we do have to be careful not to give them too much fruit. They do have a bit of a sweet tooth, but if we gave them too much, it could be bad for their teeth. So in the wild, red pandas would eat a lot of bamboo. It would make up around 98% of their diet, and that can mean they actually need to eat around 20,000 leaves every single day. Now that's a huge amount of bamboo, but bamboo is actually very low in energy and very low in nutrients, so that's why they need to eat such a large amount of it. So red pandas don't do much because they do have to spend most of their time resting. We don't like to call them lazy, it's just being very energy efficient. Because they eat such a food that's low in energy, they have to save their energy as best they can so they have it when they need it. So they actually rest for about 18 hours a day. So seeing them up and having a lovely walk around their enclosure like they are now is a real treat, because a lot of our visitors, when they come and see them, they see what they do best, which is just laying in the tree, fast asleep. Very high up. So they are amazing climbers. As they're nice and close now, you might be able to see they have very, very sharp claws. Their claws they use for climbing, so they can grip onto small little branches. Everything about their body basically is perfectly adapted to be able to climb very well. They have quite long bodies, long tails that they use for balance, and they also have ankles that can twist around so they can climb vertically head first downwards. They also have, surprisingly, amazing camouflage when they're in their native range. They are found in the foothills of the Himalayas, so there's 5 different countries that they're native to throughout that region. And they live in the bamboo forests where it's very damp all the time, it rains a lot, and there's also a lot of low-lying cloud. So there's a lot of red moss that grows on the branches. So even though here they look to us to be a very vivid colour, they actually camouflage amazingly well in their native habitat. Nampang's just showing off his amazing climbing skills right there. So the main predators for red pandas would be leopards and bears, but unfortunately it really is humans that are causing red pandas to be an endangered species. No one knows exactly how many red pandas remain in the wild today. They are a very secretive and very elusive species. We know that it's definitely under around 10,000 animals, and again this is spread over 5 different countries. It's quite a large range. But it could be as low as around 2,000. So we really need to work to protect them.
I just want to quickly butt in and say thank you everyone for joining so far. This is Nampang, and we have Tilly just there, just looking over, getting grumpy that Nampang's eating all the food. Thank you all for joining. Don't forget that we do have our Just Giving page up and running, which we're asking kindly for donations to support our animals here at the park while we are in our second lockdown. And if you're looking for something to watch on TV, head to iPlayer, BBC iPlayer, and you can check out CBBC's ZOO2U, which shows the amazing work we do here at the park and also our conservation work around the world.
So as I said, the main threat to these guys in the wild is habitat loss. They live in very remote regions where the people who live in the communities in these areas have no choice but to get all of their resources basically from the forest around them. So even though they don't want to do any harm to the animals, they basically don't have a choice. The main reason behind people having to cut down the trees is simply for firewood. So we do a lot of fundraising for an amazing organisation called the Red Panda Network, and we send a donation to them every single year. So we suggest you look them up if you haven't heard of them before. They're doing amazing things to help basically local people living in these rural villages. One of their main initiatives is they install more efficient stoves into people's houses, and that can literally halve the amount of firewood that a house needs to collect every year. So that saves a huge amount of forest. It also helps people. Obviously they don't have to go out chopping firewood every day, and it also even improves their health because they have less sort of fumes in their house. So they really do amazing work, and they're finding more red pandas in the forests where Red Panda Network operate than there have ever been before. So it's obviously working.
So we have a couple of questions. Tilly, could you just explain about her tail?
Yes, of course. Tilly, as I said, she's 9 years old. She's lived here for practically all of her life. She came to us from the zoo as she was born in France. She used to have an absolutely beautiful tail, and unfortunately, about a year and a half ago now, she started to lose the fur on her tail. They do this to some extent over summer to help keep them cool, but she lost all the fur, which is very unusual. Our vets basically, we eventually found out she had a problem with her blood flow. So essentially the blood isn't flowing to her tail properly, and this actually started to cause the tip of her tail to die off. So we actually had to amputate half of her tail. But animals are amazingly adaptable, and even the day after the operation, she was climbing around the tree as if her tail had always been like that for her whole life, and she hasn't had any other related health problems since. So it doesn't cause her any problem, and we seem to have solved it now, but it is actually still a bit of a medical mystery. We don't know why it happened, and our vets are stumped.
Cool. And a couple of things that you can do here at Paradise is you actually can meet Tilly and Nampang with our animal experiences. So if you head to our website, you can do that. It's an amazing gift if you're looking for gift ideas for Christmas time. You can also adopt Tilly and Nampang. So again, head to our website, and it makes another great Christmas gift. And Nampang's just above us, climbing.
And scent marking. So we're actually heading into the red panda breeding season now. Red panda breeding season lasts from around end of December to about mid-March, but they will actually only be receptive to mating for a couple of weeks during that period. In their native range, red pandas are solitary animals, so males and females wouldn't actually live together year-round. These two do, and they are absolutely... Tilly definitely wears the trousers in this relationship, so she normally just tells him off. He wanted to go that way and she didn't want him to. She'll stare him down and they'll be fine. 99% of the time, they get along just fine, and they basically ignore each other. They kind of just try and pretend the other one doesn't exist, and that's how they get on best. But we are starting to see a few more interactions with them as we're getting closer to the breeding season. So what we're really hoping will happen is over the next few weeks they'll start following each other a little bit more, being a little bit more active. We might even hear them vocalising towards one another, which would be really exciting. And if they do successfully mate this year or this season, Tilly would be getting ready to give birth in around sort of between June and July next summer. That's when all red pandas always have their cubs. Tilly has been a mother before. She's had 2 litters of cubs here with us successfully, but with a different male as the father. So we're hopeful that these two will be just as successful as Tilly and Tijman were, and we may have more cubs here next year, but we will have to wait and see.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Amy. So thank you everyone that has joined the live stream. This is unfortunately the end of it, but you can catch us with ZOO2U live streams all throughout this second lockdown. On Saturday, we actually go live with our dinosaurs at World of Dinosaurs with Ty and Cam. If you're looking for something to watch as well this lockdown, please head to BBC iPlayer. You can check out CBBC's ZOO2U, which shows the work that we do here on site and also conservation around the world. And if you are looking for any Christmas gifts, you can do animal adoptions and animal experiences here at the park. And finally, if you would like to donate, if you have enjoyed the live stream, please head to our Just Giving page, the Animal Support Fund, and you can donate there. So thank you so much, everyone. It's time to say goodbye, Tilly and Nampang. And goodbye, Amy.
Thank you. Goodbye.